Are you a female coach and you're struggling with email, specifically how to send daily emails? In this video, I am going to tell you exactly what you need to do to make sending daily emails so easy that anyone can do it. And stick around because number 3 is a game changer. Ready? Let's dive in. So, the first thing that you want to do if you want to send daily emails, now, before we dive into that, actually, let me just back up a bit. Why would you want to send daily emails? Well, because if you are not on social media, and I'm assuming that if you're here, you're really looking to get yourself off social media, you need to be visible to your audience. And if you're not on social media and you're struggling to connect with your audience, you need to be in front of them more regularly. And so a daily email allows you to do that. Now, just so we're clear, sending a daily email doesn't mean that you're selling, right? This is not these hard pitch emails. This is a daily email that connects with your audience and actually does a really good job of attracting your ready to buy customers, right? So that's what we're looking to do. So, step 1 is making sure that you are super clear on your message. And what I mean by that is your messaging around your offers. And the way that I like to do this is I like to fill out a document, which I call the Tangible Offer Framework document, which allows me to get 8 points down. In other words, I answer 8 questions that allows me to get some clarity around the result that I'm helping someone get with that offer, who the ideal customer is for that offer, and then any pains or misconceptions or beliefs they have around why they can't do that thing, right? So that's 3 of the 8 questions that I typically fill out for every single offer. So that is my messaging, right? The reason that I am talking to anyone about an offer is because I'm genuinely trying to help them. But messaging could also be the things that you want to impart to your audience, the sayings, the beliefs, the things that you say again and again and again. And I have a couple of messages that whenever I sit down to write an email, are kind of at the forefront. The way that I'm going to start writing an email is because of these messages. So, message number 1, it does get to be easy and fun in your business. And there are no one size fits all strategies when it comes to running your business. So, those are kind of my 2 core messages that go out to all of my audience, right? So, not just to the sub niches that I'm talking to, but to my female creative entrepreneurs, right? Those are my overarching audience. I want them to know and believe and understand that it does get to be easy and fun in your business. And if it's not, why are you doing it? Right? Like that, I genuinely have that conversation with my members every single week. Why are you doing that thing if it's not easy and fun? But also, there's no one size fits all strategy. What somebody else is doing doesn't mean that it's essentially going to work for you. It's about figuring out what that looks like for you. What is easy and fun for you? What are your natural gifts, strengths, and talents? So once you've got your messaging down, once you're clear on what that kind of looks like, so you can go 2 ways. You can either do your overarching messaging, which is what I just talked about, or your messaging based on an offer, which leads me to point number 2, or step number 2 is to always ensure that every piece of content and every email that goes out is based on an offer. And what I mean by that is it's not necessarily based on an offer. It is because you have that offer that you're now creating content, reverse engineering. So that again is why the Tangible Offer Framework document is super helpful, because now I have all of that information in this document so that when I sit down to write an email, I know the exact offer that I want to bring people to. Because if you're sending daily emails, you should also be presenting the opportunity for people to buy from you, right? Like always, every single piece of content that goes out, whether it's an email, whether it's a blog post, whether it's a YouTube video. Those are the three core things that I focus on. They're always centered around an offer. Because if you're not selling, why are you in business? And there's nothing wrong with selling. Like, that's the thing, there's nothing wrong with it. So when I sit down to write an email, I'm also going, okay, what offer am I going to present? And when I say present, I'm literally just writing the email, either busting a myth or sharing an insight or a lesson and helping them start to think about that for themselves. And then in the PS, it's literally, hey, if this resonated, I actually have a way that I can support you even more. Here's this offer, or I wouldn't say offer, but here's more, learn more, check it out. Whatever wording you want to use doesn't really matter. It's a natural conversation. And that's the other thing to always keep in mind, is that you're actually talking to another person. And I find it super helpful that when I sit down to write, that I actually am writing to the target customer for that offer, which is why it's so important that when you're sitting down and creating offers and writing content, that you know who your ideal customer is for each individual offer. Now, they could be the same, but generally they are going to be kind of a subset of your audience. You're not always creating things for every single person. Everyone doesn't have the same problem. So if your offer suite doesn't meet your audience where they're at on the different points of their journey, that's kind of a thing that you might want to sit down and go, okay, if my audience is here, how am I supporting them? Entirely up to you whether you go ahead and create that or not. So we've just gone through messaging. We've just talked about your offers. Step 3 is probably my secret sauce when it comes to writing daily emails. And it's pretty much how I'm able to do it every single day and never run out of content. Are you ready? Here it is. Creating stories. Now, what I mean by that is capturing stories, like literally stories from your own life. Now, I know immediately as I say that you're probably instantly resistant to that, because I was too, until I started asking myself this question every single day. What happened today? That's it. It's really simple. Now, the process behind that is basically to grab my phone and I open up the Otter app, as in the animal, and I just simply recount what I did that day, like what happened today. And I just go through what my day looked like. And whilst the majority of my day in terms of work is essentially the same, and I'm using air quotes because no day is the same. But the things that I do, right? I have a daily cash flow checklist. And so I work through that. But in every single day, there are different things that happen. Now, obviously, we are in Vietnam right now, but prior to January 2025, we were in Australia, and my days definitely looked pretty similar. But there are always opportunities for you to capture stories. So, generally, what I will do is just kind of run through my day. So, what happened? I got up at this time. I did this in the first hour, and I just kind of just walk myself through what my day was. And, if I had a conversation with someone, was there something that happened there? Did I go somewhere and have a conversation with someone? Did something happen? Right? Like, that's why that question is so important. Here's an example from one of those days where I captured what I did and I pulled this story out and I shared it in an email with my audience. So basically, when we were living in Australia, lived in an apartment building. We had an underground garage. And to get into that garage, you had to push a button, right, like a garage opener. And there were two doors that would automatically open and close. So you'd press a button, the thing would go up, and then you would drive through, and then it would automatically come down. We had gone out to get some groceries, and for whatever reason, I had driven. My husband normally drives, but for this day, it was me. And I pulled into the driveway and I noticed that the garage door was already open. Now, immediately in my head, I went, holy crap, I can't drive through that, because the fear of the garage door coming down on the car was the first thing that popped into my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I have to wait for the garage door to start coming down so that I can press the button to pause it, then press the button again for it to roll back up. Then I can drive safely through. Now, this is a completely unfounded fear. I have never had a garage door fall down on a car. I don't know anyone that has had that happen to them, but in my head, that was the fear. Now, my husband was sitting beside me and he was just like, just go, babe. The garage door will stop if you are in there. It's got a sensor. And whilst I logically knew that, in my body, I was completely frozen. So that was the story that I captured. And then basically what I did was tell that exact story in my email. And at the end of that email, I then said, this is exactly what happens when we are in our businesses. We often stop ourselves from doing something because we have an unfounded fear, a fear that keeps us frozen in place. Then the next thing that I said was, what fear is stopping you from growing your business right now? What fear is keeping you frozen from taking that next step towards getting the thing that you want in place for your business? And I just literally ended it with those two questions. And then I just said, you're here cheering you on. You got this. Take care, Lise XOXO. That's pretty much how I end my emails. In the PS, I basically said, if you want ongoing support around figuring out things like this, if you need someone to chat to and bounce ideas and figure out how to get unstuck, then I'd love to invite you to join us inside the Cultivate Academy. And then I just had a link. And that's essentially how I do my daily emails. So step one, make sure you're clear on your messaging. Step two, don't write any piece of content unless it links back to an offer. And step three, capture your stories. Make sure that you're really clear about how you can connect with your audience. And the more that you do this, the more that you will see your open rates increase and your click-through rate will increase because you're also linking to something every single time. Now, does that result in daily sales? Not immediately, but over time, if you consistently do this, it does result in daily sales. In this video coming up on your screen right now is my daily cash flow checklist walkthrough. So if you want to learn what it looks like to make daily sales, go and check that video out now, and I will see you there. Take care.